And we're live. ALTBAYS Show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. This is show number 189. Can I have some claps there? Wow, amazing. Full house, as you can see. We've been doing this for like almost 1.5 years now. I sometimes I lose track of the beautiful work that we're putting here with this beautiful collaborative group of people. There's amazing people in the Coromind, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and we're very happy to be part of this community for such a long time, 9 years now for me and pretty much 7 years for Taylor. It's a pleasure to be doing this and bringing inspiring people to chat, express their opinions, have a laugh, cry if they want to, whatever. We're here. It's very inclusive. We're ready. You can find our show on YouTube. You're watching us right now. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. That helps. And we're also a podcast, so you will find us in all the leading audio platforms. And our group also publishes the beautiful, look at this, whoa, the Coromind magazine, made by the community for the world, of course, because you can find online versions and an audio version for the magazine. We always invite local artists to feature on the cover, and we accept submissions for poetry, for articles. If you are a photographer and you would like to have your work in our mag, get in touch. hello@coromind.nz. Coromind is COROMIND. If you are listening to us right now and you cannot see the beautiful cover done by Lara, look at this, man, it's so cool. Check it out on our websites and you will love it. I have the pleasure to have on my left Emma Evangeline back, who was our cover in April. How are you, Emma?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me back in this super cool studio.
Thanks for coming back. How was the vibe when you came here to be a guest on the podcast? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was really good. You just, helped it flow so well, and I enjoyed having Beth as well. It wasn't too bad. I was like really unnecessarily nervous, and it was good.
Thank you so much for the people for the people who missed that one. Do you remember the number?
I think it was 181.
181. Yeah. We'll check that. We'll make sure that we get that right. But yeah, show 181. Emma, a visual artist from the Coromind, doing beautiful things. What's your Instagram for the people to check it out while they're listening to our conversation? They can go and see some of your art.
It's Emma Evangeline Art on Instagram. And yeah, I've been getting into doing time-lapse videos, which have been really fun, like on smaller canvases, getting to show people the whole process, which is, it's fun making those reels. And
do you feel good about people seeing the process? I think we talked about that, but like it feels like you are comfortable with that process.
Yeah, I love showing people how it's made, and the stages that it goes through. It starts out really basic. A lot of people, when they see the end result, they think, oh, like how does that happen? And it's cool being able to break it down, and so anyone could feel like they'd be able to do it.
Thanks so much for doing that. I think a lot of artists would feel a bit like scared about showing the process, but I guess you inspire a lot of people by doing that as well, right? It's for everyone.
Yeah, people like watching it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Such a good time to show like the behind the scenes and how things get done. Hey, the internet is really providing a lot of that, like which takes some of the fear, I think, because some people they don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And when you see someone doing it, you're like, well, if that human is doing it, maybe,
definitely. Yeah, I find that, it's helped me so much seeing other artists like share their like beginning phases of an artwork and where the ideas have come from, and it's been good.
Sharing is caring. Thanks for doing that. We have the pleasure to have Lara here with us tonight.
Hello.
Bonjour. How are you, Lara?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're still scared about being here with us, Lara? Still like, oh my God, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? What am I doing here?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. So I'm going to show this again. Which camera, Taylor? Do you want my camera or the middle one? Middle one? So beautiful cover, Lara. Lara, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be a featured artist on the Coromind magazine. Real pleasure.
My pleasure.
I love people's reactions to the cover. I don't know if confronting is the word, but some people like they take a minute, you know, like they really pay attention to what's going on there, which is great, right?
Yeah, nice.
That's what you want. So thank you so much. When did you get when this this painting is from? It's not one of your recent ones, is it?
No, I made this one maybe a couple of years ago. Or a year ago, I don't know, in winter.
Winter time.
Yeah, that was like a long winter project. It took me 120 hours of watercolor, and I just like spent a few months doing it over the quiet winter.
Was it weird doing a self-portrait, or did you like it?
Yeah, it's my first and last, actually, like proper self-portrait. Yeah. So it was a bit weird, like, I guess like first of all, seeing yourself as like in an objective way, because like when you look at yourself in a mirror or in a photo, like there's a bit of like, you know,
a disconnect.
Yeah, there's a bit of distance from reality. So it was quite interesting, and it was a bit weird, but it was cool.
Could you visualize it like in your mind, or as you were doing, you were finding details and finding things to add, because there's so many details. Every time that I look at it, I find something new.
No, the end picture was already completely pre-thought out as I started the painting, because like using watercolor, there's no turning back. You can't really add anything or remove anything. So the final idea was precisely
planned.
Ahead. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. So before we dive deep, because Emma's already like, I want to ask questions. I just want to say thank you so much for Lara Love for bringing some beautiful Kai here for us tonight. Did you enjoy the vegan lasagna?
Yeah, it was so good.
Stuff,
she did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks, Tanya. For the people in the Coromind, if you're looking into learning a bit more about plant-based food, or if you just want to get a group of friends together and do a cooking class, Tanya put some beautiful classes out there, and she's got a beautiful food truck now. She will be in one of the markets. I'm sure she will be watching us, and she can send the details for the markets on King's birthday. King's birthday, eh? Anyway, thank you, Taylor. Anyway, Tanya will be there, and we love Tanya. We love the coffee. We love the foods that she makes. So make sure to check them out, laralove.co.nz. It will be on the screen. I also want to send a big shout out to our friends from Peninsula Motel, really supporting us. We're bringing a lot of cool people from other parts of the country now, and they really help us with accommodation. So shout out to Fred, my man. And before we dive deep, I want to do this. Lara was born in Annecy in the French Alpes, and she always loved to draw, paint, and craft in general for as long as she remembers. Since her prom age, she's been deeply influenced by surrealist artists, as her parents had a big interest in them. As a kid, she remembers going to Salvador Dali's museum in Figueres. Is that right?
Figueres.
Figueres.
Yeah, in Spain.
Even better, Figueres. And having her mind blown by his work, she experimented with her interpretation of Dali's paranoiac-critical method to reach her inner mindscape. Ooh, I want to go there for sure. Lara consistently went to art evening classes since she was 10 years old. She spent her last 5 years in France wandering through museums and art galleries in Paris and Lyon before making a move to Aotearoa. How cool, eh? This 5 years. Ooh, wait. She initially came to New Zealand for Beaux-Arts. Did I say it right?
Beaux-Arts.
Beaux-Arts. Oh man, tonight's the night. Learning some French. Beaux-Arts portfolio project in 2019 and ended up settling here permanently. Lucky us. New Zealand's fauna and flora are a big source of inspiration for Lara. A major part of her work is to deconstruct the limits of anthropocentrism in surrealism and symbolism as we know it. She also tries to question society's construction, like the idea of gender and other injunction. Lara is based in Whangamata, where she's happy to express her creativity in her art studio located in the beautiful Wentworth Valley. What a pleasure. Thank you so much, Lara. Wow, cool bio as well. So you've been drawn in this art world since you know yourself as a human.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Well, curious, let's say. Like I think France provides that.
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of like it's a stereotype, but it's also true. It's a big part of our culture. It's really accessible. You don't really have to go look for it. It's everywhere. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
When you say like a stereotype, does it bother you or French people like to
a little bit.
A little bit?
But it's like it's not such of a bad stereotype, so it's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah.
And I'm not really helping against it, so.
Have you been to France, Emma?
No, I haven't been to Europe yet. I want to go potentially next year. I would love to go there. Do you have any recommendations for galleries? Or I'd love to know your favorite artist's work you've seen in person, like anything that you...
Yeah. So
she's daydreaming about like the beautiful things that she loves.
I would say I really like all the tiny galleries in the Montmartre district of Paris. That's where you find like a lot of really underground little galleries and museums, and usually that's a lot nicer than the big touristy museum like the Louvre, where you won't really see anything because there's so many tourists in front of everything that you don't even get to see anything. But I would say maybe Figueres would remain my very favorite place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's in Spain. So have you done a lot of traveling around Europe? Was that a big part for you, or mainly?
It's really just across the border. So you can catch a train from Lyon, and it's only just like a few hours to get there. So yeah.
How easy and how important it is for a big well, not that big, but like such a powerful continent as Europe to have this train thing.
It's cool. It's nice. It makes it so accessible, and like within Europe, people don't really travel around. I've noticed it's like just something people don't really do. I mean, at least in France, like you're not gonna go for like a weekend trip to the next country. It's like not really something to do.
Do you think they take it for granted a little bit, or they just...
Yeah, I guess it's just because like, I don't know, it's just something people don't really do. Like, you know, just like coming here is a couple hours to drive, and it's just like cool, you know?
That is kind of similar to New Zealand, because so many Kiwis actually don't go to the South Island till later in life. Like the first time I went to the South Island, I was 21. And I'd been to Australia a couple of times, because actually was often cheaper than going to the South Island, which is quite interesting. Like you're not really intrigued by where you're from. I feel like I mean I keep hearing this. It's funny, and usually it's like it's cool.
So those 5 years that you said in your bio that you spent like just going to places, and like what was it? You were living in France. Were you living in other places before you did that? Or you just came to you like, no, I want to explore and I'm going to spend time now in my life.
I was just living in Lyon. So it was like something to do in my free time. And I've got some family living in Paris that I would go and visit quite often. And go on a weekend trip or a week trip and browse through the museums. That's what I like doing.
Do you keep up with what's happening in France?
Not at all. No.
Fair enough.
No.
there's always some cars burning. There's always some crazy
that's
shit
the old classics, you know.
Rebellion in France.
Yeah.
Come on, Emma, hit us with some of the questions. Emma was like, I got some questions here, Leo. I want to ask some questions. Yeah. Go for it, Emma, please.
In your bio, you said that you got to see Salvador Dali's work.
Yeah.
So was that in Spain, did you say?
Yeah, in Spain. So he's got like the big museum in Figueres, which is actually like, they call it a theater. Yeah. And there's all like all his creations and like the big ones and the sculptures and everything. You're really submerged in it, and it's quite cool. That's where he's I think that's where he's from. That's where he lived for a bit. And then there's another museum where there's all his sketches in Madrid, in Spain as well. And then there's one in Montmartre in Paris with a few things that I quite like. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty iconic, so I guess it'd be in demand, and they'd want to have him in all of the main galleries. When I first saw your self-portrait, it did remind me of Frida Kahlo with the heart coming out and the split.
With all the things.
Yeah. It was really cool. Have you seen her work around?
Not in person, but yeah.
I love her work. She was recently at the Auckland Art Gallery. Did you get to see that?
No, I didn't get to. Was it last year? Or?
It was. I went there because it was the day that my parents went back to Brazil, and we had like 3 hours to kill. And I was like, my sister was like, "Let's go see Frida Kahlo," and I was like, "But we only have 3 hours, you know, like we could spend the day there." Yeah. But that was January. Yeah, January. It was amazing, beautiful, especially because they brought so many of the outfits. Oh yeah. So you could get some of her life as well, the spaces. Of course, the art is why you go. Yeah, definitely. But like when you get to see more, you're like, oh, beautiful. Yeah. Auckland Art Gallery does an amazing job with the exhibitions.
Yeah, and Wellington. A lot of our galleries, even the Dunedin one, I was really impressed with.
Haven't been to.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, it's quite a they've got quite a cool culture in Dunedin, like a lot of historic buildings, and then, their gallery is beautiful. You wouldn't really expect it if you just know it as like a student town. Which a lot of
that's the thing, but it does make sense if it's a student's town. If it has a younger vibe, you would expect
that's
an
true.
artistic movement, right?
Yeah.
Do you have spaces in New Zealand like that you went to cool galleries or just like cool places that you enjoyed the vibe and the creative space?
Yeah. Well, the Eccentric Gallery Cafe.
Shout out.
It's actually a cafe, but it's also a gallery. But there's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. So this one. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And there's a few like really like quirky places that are quite unusual actually in Europe to find. In New Zealand, like people are really free to like express themselves through architecture and like create their own little space in cities or in the middle of nowhere. Like you come across some of those quirky spots. Yeah,
we do have a lot of random things hidden away, like cafes and galleries that you wouldn't expect. Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty cool.
I think it's we should not just like pass through Dali and give him like 1 minute of our attention, right? I think a lot of people know the image of Dali much more than the art of Dali. I could be generalizing it, but I have this impression that because of the mustache and because of him worrying so much about his image, I think a lot of people would identify, and maybe that classic. What's the name of the classic one with the clocks melting? One of probably like, I don't know. Maybe maybe it's famous.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. It's really famous.
It's really
I have
famous,
a print of it with it written on for my students, like with the name, and I can't like summon the name.
So I would say that a lot of people would relate to some of the artwork. But Lara, could you please tell me a little bit about the importance of Dali? It doesn't have to be like historical. Like if you know a little bit, I would love that. But like for the work that you do and for surrealism,
I feel like, so from what I know, Dali was quite of a pioneer in the surrealism movement back then, along with all like the psychanalysts that were starting to dive into like the subconsciousness and how to access it. And like him and quite a few other surrealist artists really dived into like exploring dreams and the subconsciousness and what's going on in our brain. And so I feel like he opened a new dimension of creating and a new purpose of creating. He had a lot of method, and he dedicated a lot of time into researching what you don't see.
Yeah.
What you don't see.
And yeah, it's just I found it pretty inspiring and pretty powerful. Yeah.
Were there things that when you read or when you found out you were surprised? You're like, oh, okay, this is deep.
I don't know. It's just a cool tool, I would say. Like he just elaborated some really cool techniques and that are just tools to understanding yourself and diving into the deeper layers of self, I would say. Yeah, pretty clever guy.
And how did, please, Emma, you go.
Have you ever based any of your artworks on dreams? Like, have you explored that as a theme?
Yeah, so when I started like seriously painting, I would kind of do, I had like a little diary where instead of like writing things down, I would just like close my eyes and try to go into a deep stage of meditation. And I have really visual things going on in my head when I meditate. Yeah. And so I would try to translate it on paper and use it as a like a screenshot of my brain at that time. And I did that like for quite a few years. And then it was funny how accurate like with how much accuracy he would bring me back to like the past. Yeah. And how my brain would be, and I don't know.
It's hard to talk about these things.
Yeah,
they're like taps into like different layers of our
Yeah, all artists have like their own inner world going on and like visuals that they gravitate to that sort of get stuck in there and you want to get them out. I reckon, that's a great idea, like journaling, like, or having that there while you're meditating or, on a trip or any sort of thing, for inspiration. Yeah. And then you can just like pick what you think will look good for a...
Did you find some like, let's say, benefits, like kind of like because we talk a lot about art therapy, you know, like in the power of the arts and music and all that stuff, you know. So was it something, what came first? Did you tap into the arts and then you realized that it was powerful for your well-being, or you kind of like thought about going through that to make things better, understand things better?
I don't know. I guess at first it was just for the sake of creating. And then it, like, more than just a creative process, it's a language in itself. And I've soon realized that, like, you can express really weird thoughts that could not be expressed in any other manners. And then that's when you realize how important it is and essential.
The art.
So
when I look at your work, it just instantly like reminds me of the interconnectedness of everything, because it's really cool the way like your nature compositions, how you've got like land connecting and then turning into an ocean and turning into another thing, and everything is sort of like intertwined. They're very clever little compositions with like the animals and the landscapes, and they're beautiful to look at. And then like I remember when I first saw your work at Eccentric, and I thought, wow, like you've really put a lot into it, like hidden things, and it's just like very interesting to look at. Yeah, that's the kind of art that I'm really into when people have like quite a lot going on.
When it comes to the mushrooms, there's a lot of mushrooms there. Is it something that you used to pay attention when you were younger, like nature? Because you mentioned the New Zealand fauna and flora.
Yeah.
It's amazing how so many fauners appreciate that. You know, like I obviously Kiwis are very aware of the beauty of the country, but people coming from other places, they really love the color.
It's special. So special. It's so rich and beautiful.
I want to know about the mushrooms.
Yeah, that was your question. I forgot your question. Yeah, I guess so. I'm really into like plants in general, and fungi, and especially the ones that can help you understand.
Yep, not kill you, help you understand. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Were you interested? Were you interested in the power of the mushrooms as medicine, or first you were just like interested in how they look and in the process of what a fungi is and what it does?
It's I don't know. I guess like to me, like mushroom represents like a fully functioning closed cycle of
an ecosystem.
Of an ecosystem and interconnection between everything and source of knowledge as well, because I feel like the psychedelic mushrooms contain so much information that can be transmitted to us. It's insane, eh?
Yeah,
I don't know, I feel like they're cute little alien creatures that dominated Earth, and they just help the forest and help the trees interact and share nutrients and all that. And I don't know, I think they're pretty cool, and when like they also it's like life through decay, as like we eat mushrooms and then we get eaten by mushrooms. And to put it in a simple way, I feel like there's something like really metaphysical about mushrooms that transcend the boundaries of physics. And we should
I love this conversation.
I don't know. I don't know if I make much sense.
No. But that's the thing. It's such a tricky thing to make sense of, isn't it? At the end of the day, because again, like I feel like we're coming out of a time in history that really shut down the possibilities to study these beautiful things, like these powerful, beautiful things. And then nowadays it's still a little bit of taboo. It is taboo. It's not a little bit. It is taboo. And it doesn't make sense because, as you said, we eat and then the mushroom eats us, that's the thing, life and death, it's just what it is. There's nothing more natural than that. And shutting down the opportunity to understand such a powerful substance that takes us to places that we would never imagine that there is possible to go there. How can we not talk about that? Like if there's proof that there's a system shutting us down, here we go, Erica, I'm with you now.
It's a dangerous tool.
It's super powerful and dangerous when administered or not administered, right? So I agree. I think we all kind of like have some interest in the power of that. We talked about that when you came here, right, Emma? Do you keep up with how like countries are dealing with making it legal or understanding more and choosing that to go like as a medicine option as well?
The only other places I'm sort of only really focusing on New Zealand. But I know that there's certain states, I think Oregon have got, I think it's legalized or at least decriminalized, and I know that you can access it. And in Europe, I think there are some places where it's legal, and I know, South America, they've got the ayahuasca. I don't know. Do you know much about that because you're from...
Taylor probably knows a little bit more than me, if I'm not wrong, because ayahuasca, it's connected to a religion there in Brazil. Is it a cult or a religion, Taylor? Can you say?
It's just tribe medicines, I would say.
But because of the Santo Daime, because they...
Oh yeah, that is religions made from that. But even Santo Daime, it's like Christianism. It's a little bit of Christianism with the herbs.
So from what I understand, if you are making use of some substances for religious purposes, then you are allowed to.
Oh, okay. So that's how it works over there.
So you can actually go to, we call it...
You need to pass through a test.
Yeah, it's not just like,
a number of followers, prove a number of followers, and that's not dangerous, health and safety, all the things. Yeah.
It's not just rock up and go for it, but it is accessible. I think the name is Santo Daime, and you can join, and they provide the opportunity to tap into ayahuasca, which although I am very positive about the legalization and the studies of it, I also understand, as you said, how dangerous it can be, especially when just focusing on religious things. There's much more to that. So unfortunately, some people don't know how to deal with them, and then actually that demonize the rest of the people and make them look bad, because if someone having a bad experience in life taps into a powerful substance like that and is not prepared, we know that the outcome won't be great, right?
That'd be a big warm-up to do before legalizing substances like them.
Oh yeah. Maybe in 50 years' time, ayahuasca will be accessible.
Do you feel like it's going to be that long, though? I feel like technology and podcasts and people getting together and sharing conversations like this one, I feel like we're going at a faster pace.
Yeah.
The problem with ayahuasca is that one of the ingredients, one of the vines takes normally 15 years to get ready.
Wow.
And then now is being used way more than before, and apparently it's gonna just disappear soon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So interesting hearing this history about it, because I've known quite a few people who have gone over there and done it, like ceremonially, to Peru, I think. And quite a lot of Westerners, like they go over there and do it for, just healing or, but I had no idea about the background of it and how it was accessible.
That's the same with the peyote as well. I think that on the Netflix documentary that we watched, we'd like to talk about it. What is the name?
How to Change Your Mind.
Yeah.
Have you watched How to Change Your Mind? It's a 4-episode series on Netflix.
No, I haven't.
It's a doctor. The guy, I think, is a journalist as well. I don't know if he's a doctor. I should check that. But quite an influential guy from the US, and he's old school, which gave much more credibility. Because usually people in that profile would shut down, but he came with a very open mind. In each episode, taps into a different psychedelic, and in my opinion, the most interesting one is peyote, because he focuses on the communities, on the tribes, and on the people from that area of Mexico that do peyote for years and years and years. And then suddenly you have a wave of mainstream attention, wanting to tap into that. But for them, it's because of the place where they're from, and it's not easy to have access to it. And then suddenly you have a lot of people curious about it.
Yeah.
So I guess mushrooms takes a point there, because mushrooms are everywhere. So in this case, I think it's a bit more accessible. That's why for me, every time that we can raise that flag of not even make it legal or whatever, just do some research, just tap into this world, because one of the things that upsets me, it's how the pharmaceutical industry doesn't make things clear about the power of the herbs and power of natural stuff. Everything that they produce comes from natural stuff. How can you shut down natural stuff and say that everything has to go through a process? I understand health and safety, that things have to go through a sort of legislation, but it's clear
it's a
that
step too far.
If there's no profit, right? Yeah. Do you know France situation when it comes to that, to psychedelics and access to herbal medicines and all this stuff? A little bit.
we're pretty nah.
I would expect to be really. I would expect to be one of the places to.
Not really. No, I would say people are pretty like a bit too conservative and scared of like things like that. Yeah, it's already like really hard to find like proper weed or.
Yeah.
It's really complicated. I guess a lot of people do like to take drugs in France. From what I know, but it's not something that in the collective consciousness. It's really like people are not really like free to. I think that it's cool. I don't know. Yeah, it's really controversial. Yeah, it's
a bit. It gets like to that hypocrite vibe, doesn't it? Because a lot of people consume. But when you say, hey, can we have a conversation and maybe bring those subjects to the table, people are like, no, I don't want to talk about it. And like, well, why not? Like, you could be saving lives, right? It's like, could be helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
Do you feel like New Zealand is a little bit more progressive when it comes to that, Emma?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. Yeah. And it was a shame with the weed referendum. I know you talked about that briefly with Erica about how, like, I can understand there were people that voted against it because they thought, it's going to wreck small businesses or like just small time growers, and corporations are just going to like take the reins and hoard all the profits. And but then it gives everyone, like, I voted for it obviously because I think it's great if everyone can have equal access and grow their own stuff. But yeah, I think maybe I don't know if they'll ever do another referendum or if it will just naturally, I think it will just naturally become more accessible. And I know that, like, from what I've heard, that like our police are more focused on things like methamphetamine and like harder drugs because they know it's just a waste of resources.
Do you agree with referendum? Like, I like the idea for some subjects, but if you spend like 15 minutes on TikTok, some people don't know how to spell their names, you know, like, and then you're giving them the power to vote for something that could benefit a lot of people. And as we know, media has a big impact in people's opinions, so they don't even know what they're getting, if it's true or not. So I'm a bit skeptical about asking such important questions to the people. Isn't it the reason why you have specialists in topics?
Yeah, I think it's good. I'm very pro just like and I think the collective just just evolves, and I think everyone should have that opportunity, a say. But I understand that there's a lot of people that just will blindly follow whatever the media tells them and don't have the time to research anything or so it's a tricky one.
Is it something that happened? Sorry.
I think I'm quite into the idea of like instead of having like a large government, like more power to local areas. There's a word for that. But I think having communities, giving communities more of a say is a better way to go than just like the masses deciding everything for everywhere. Like I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I guess that's sort of more like the states in America. Like, they're so divided and their states have a lot more power than like what we have here. Like, they can kind of choose whatever aligns for their population. And of course there'll be people in that state that oppose some of the laws. But you get those conservative states and then the Democrat states, and
Do you like living in small communities? Do you agree with that there's a lot of power in small community to decide things, or it's more...
What's that?
Because Emma was saying that, like, maybe if we could give more power to the communities, you know, like if we could listen to the groups instead of trying to generalize a lot of the important decisions, you come from a country that people are very opinionated, right? Like it's quite loud every time that you see something from France. Like people are very vocal about what they believe.
I feel like everyone should have a say, but it's a tricky one.
Yeah, maybe they have to be a certain age or
or like you'd have to like, I don't know.
I'm an artist, man. Don't get me with these political questions.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah.
I try to find this balance when talking to artists. I play music with a beautiful gentleman who came second in the 100 top Kiwi songs countdown done by CFM. Yeah, Mr. Stupidly. And he often shares posts from Nick Cave. Mm-hmm. Do you know Nick Cave?
Yeah.
Beautiful singer. Played with what's the name of his band? The Bad Seeds, I think.
Yeah.
And I think someone asked him like, "Oh, do you position yourself politically and all this stuff?" And he's like, "Man, I'm here to sing about like the soul of the world, like how to heal the deeper aspects of it, like I don't want to limit myself to political views when I'm going way deeper than that." And that's a topic that often comes to the table when interviewing or when chatting with artists, because artists usually have an influence, right? So people say, are you not gonna position yourself? Are you not gonna say anything? What do you think about that? Do you think artists should have an opinion on all these subjects and express what they think?
I respect like Nick Cave's stance on like, unity is so important, and it's not, it is good to avoid divisiveness and get to that core of like, we have a lot more in common with people than we realize. Like, and I know through things like COVID, the division was so intense, and looking back now, we realized, actually, like we didn't need to be so hateful and divisive. We have so much more in common than, everyone was just, acting out of fear and,
It weakens us, makes us weak. That division.
Yeah.
Lara?
No, I really respect, like I like political art, and I think it's cool. Like I did an anti-mandate painting, and that was it was my like most popular artwork I did last year, and I got 100 messages the day I posted it, or more than that, of people wanting to print it out and purchase it and and when you make something that really resonates with people, it's really rewarding. When it's something you believe in as well, I think it's cool. And like when you do make a political artwork, like just like don't take it personally, like just expect backlash and be okay with it. Like everyone's entitled to their own opinion and views. Everyone's had different life experiences, and I only had one sort of negative message from that post, but it got like nearly 5,000 likes and 500 comments and only one negative. I don't know, I think it's worth it, worth standing up for what you believe in. And you'll regret not saying anything.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you agree, Lara?
Yeah, I think art can be a really powerful tool that we shouldn't be afraid of using it, because it's a superpower. So yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes by doing the art and having your artwork there, it already speaks for itself?
Yeah.
Don't have to explain or or you allow people to have their own. Well, of course, it's beyond your power what they're gonna think. But
yeah, I feel like in general, like it's kind of hard to like even like find words to describe this because it belongs in the visual and emotional world. So it's kind of hard to like talk about it, if that makes sense. But yeah, they all have their own very soul. Yeah. Yeah. With like their meaning and their history. I mean stories, sorry, not history.
I always pay attention when I go to art galleries. I like to soak it in, look at it, spend my time looking at something and making my own story there. Oh, what was the artist thinking? What was it? And then I might go and read. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even check those little things on the sides that tells a little bit of the story of what was happening there. You know, I leave the mystery.
Yeah.
You know, fascinates me. But it's beautiful when you find out that there was so much more, especially when it comes to like, that's why it was cool to see Frida Kahlo work, for example, because at the same time that they were showing the arts, they had the timeline of what was happening, where she was living, and politically especially, then you connect the dots and you're like, wow, there's so much power in these paintings. Like they're beautiful by themselves. But when you put them in the historical context.
Yeah, you'd have no idea all the pain she went through. She had the most insane life, that woman. Like, yeah.
Have you guys seen her movie? I mean, the movie about her? Mm-hmm. Definitely recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other, so you mentioned the movies. Do you play music? Do you like other art forms? Are there other things that you do for yourself that feed your soul?
Not that I could think of. I'm not playing music. I love cinema a lot. Yeah, maybe dancing.
Dancing, yes. Yeah. Are there some cool dance groups and classes and people or like good places to go in Whangamata? Because the French people love to dance. We connect a lot with that. But
I got a few close friends I like to go and dance with in the forest. And
okay, we're tapping into something here, Emma. Dancing in the forest. I like this.
Is that sort of like ecstatic dance? Like, do you know about those? There's a place here, Mana Retreat does these things called ecstatic dances, and it's like I think it's kind of like a movement that I don't know if it's a recent thing or but yeah, it's like I've gone to quite a few of them, and it's like a sound journey that you just move through, do whatever you want. Like there's no instruction or anything, and it's
like
just
free movement.
Yeah, free movement, just like getting it out, and it goes from sort of slower music to like really like almost house music, and then it winds down, and then at the end they play a gong and you kind of just go into a meditation. Are there any of those at Whangamata?
I do remember doing something quite similar, and that was like combined with a cacao ceremony.
Oh yeah,
for like a full moon.
Cool.
What is a cacao ceremony?
So it was just a group of friends from Tairua, yoga friends. They came down and they made this happen. That they just got a lot of people gathered in a circle, and then we had like we just had that moment around ceremonial cacao, and we drank it, and it's really heart opening, and then we had like some sort of some fun with like music and what going through those
what
stages.
Does it do? What do you feel after drinking the cacao?
So it's really heart opening. So I guess you kind of feel really it's really mild, like you really have to pay attention, but for me I felt really empathic and loving. Especially in the context that we were in, it was a good combo.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's things like that happening.
Choosing the right place, the right time,
Yeah.
and what you're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
It counts a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. It sounds almost psychedelic, but I guess it. Because
Yeah.
I haven't done cacao
yeah.
ceremonially. Or,
Kind of was in a way. It was really, really mild, but yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel like after experiences you had in moments of diving into different spaces with psychedelics or whatever, like do you feel like your art changed or you perceived things differently after those experiences?
I don't know. I feel like in life in general, the use of psychedelics affects my baseline, if that makes sense. So I'm into like a constant flow where whatever I'm gonna create, like it's based on that flow that doesn't really move too much. Because I guess I don't like to take too much, and so not really. I mean, so it definitely does affect my creative flow, but yeah, it's pretty constant. No, I definitely do. Yeah.
Wow, so powerful, right? It affects how things go from there.
Yeah.
Shout out New Zealand, Aotearoa, fauna and flora, providing. How was that transition for you to come from France, tapping into a smaller country with so much going on, but at the same time, very different vibe from the country? And how do you find being a foreigner?
I feel like it's really good to like completely. I feel like it's a new start in a way that you learn to speak a new language. So that completely affects your thinking pattern because your thoughts they're held by sentences and words, which is the language. And so using another language, it's going to allow you to like have complete different thoughts and different personality at the end. So that's really interesting, and everything is so different that you just feel that, I don't know, it's pretty interesting. I mean, you probably know.
I know.
But, it's really cool to have that being able to step back from your conditioning and acknowledging that you are not your culture, and it's really like, it's a bit crazy also to realize. And because we're so influenced by our culture in so many ways, and having a restart and seeing something, because even like, I mean, for people that didn't grow up in Aotearoa, we don't see things as people who grew up here do. And so I feel like it can be also really good. Like sometimes I have I know people, they have no interest in nature here, and like, oh, that's a bit sad. And myself, there's a few things I don't care at all about France, like, and people are like, whoa, when they travel, they're like, oh, France is so cool about that, and I'm just like,
yeah.
So like it's also like really, really cool because it it helps you like acknowledge a lot of things that that you would not acknowledge otherwise. So it's nice.
Is there anything
good experience?
Is there anything from France that people always talk about, and for you, as you mentioned, for you it's just like that's just not that relevant for me as a French person?
I don't know, like there's all that like France is really romanticized, and it's really like, oh, like people dress well and blah blah blah. Well, reality is a bit more boring. Like it's it's just like, yes, like you couldn't go to the supermarket barefoot, for example, things like this. People dress up and all that, but is it a good thing? I don't think it is. I don't know. Yeah, there's a few things like that.
And also becomes it comes with a stamp as well, right? Like when you talk about France, Italy, Europe in general, you know, like I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on the European people to keep up with that in a way, you know, like you end up it's kind of the thing with Brazil, the way that we grow up watching all these bundas and all the big bums and all the, you know, like, and then you don't realize how sexualized you become, you know, like you're just growing up watching you know. I was talking to Taylor about that the other day. I was like, man, like, do you think about that sometimes? You know, I was just reflecting on that. It's such a big part of who we are that you don't think about it, you know, like, wow, that's full on. Remember those shows and like all those things, like we were 4 or 5, like it's our whole life influenced by what you're seeing. So I can understand that. You're like, oh no, we're French, you know, like, oh, the black coffee and the cigarettes and looking beautiful all day, every day. And you're like, you kind of feel like you got to keep up with that. It's not for everybody, obviously. Some people have their own opinion, which is great, but the mass ends up suffering with that, right? You got to do it. It's just
if you stay within the country, it's a pressure for sure. Yeah. It's like standards almost. It's expected and required.
Which usually is attached to a lot of consumerism.
Yeah,
right? With a society that...
Well, it's really intertwined with capitalism and consumerism.
Yes. In New Zealand, people talk a lot about the laid back lifestyle.
Yeah.
Oh, New Zealand is laid back.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it's just another cool thing to say.
Yeah.
Because when you spend a little bit of time on the Instagram and the Q influencers, you know, like it's all about the brand. It's all about this. It's all about that. And I'm like, fuck, where's the laid back, bro? Like, where's the bare feet and all that stuff? But then when it comes the time to sell the image, then everybody is bare feet. And but you know, like, you know that there's like, come on, where are you sitting? You know, like, I don't know. Am I being too judgmental, Emma?
No, I get that. I found moving from a city to Coromandel, like I just loved, like I immediately just started wearing gumboots everywhere and like not caring how I dress or like anything. Whereas in Wellington, you care way more about like, looking nice and but down here, like you can kind of just wear anything and it's
and I'm not saying that it's not nice. It's okay. It's awesome to dress up.
No, like it is. It's fun every now and then. Yeah. It is good. But yeah, when you're used to that, like on a daily basis, like getting ready. If you're going from like going to work every day and then like working from home, it is nice to just like relax.
Just be.
Yeah.
What do you miss the most about Wellington?
Some of the people, I guess, but also I think I just like now that I've gotten to know Coromandel more and like I feel like I've got more of a social life here than I did back then, which is funny. Like it's kind of shifted. When I first moved here, it was more isolating, but now I mean, like I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's jam night. Woo-hoo. And and then the market on Saturday and like there's gigs happening here a lot, like at the Monkey House and
that social life that we like to access every now and then, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is Whangamata a good place? Like when you want to find some entertainment and go out, so not that much?
Not really, to be honest. I guess we make it happen, like the people. There's not much going on, really. It's nice to see that the local community is growing and like there's the new brewery in town and there's going to be some cool places opening and all, you know. It's kind of cool that there's going to be spaces or it's going towards the right direction, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is some places, but yeah, it's not like it's not nothing crazy really. It's really it's a place to relax really.
Do you miss France?
Yeah, there's a few things I miss about France, yeah, for sure. I like like partying and yeah, it's a bit it can be a bit boring. Yeah.
We mentioned do you plan to go back sometime soon? Is it in the radar?
On holiday only, but yeah.
Fill up that party cup, eh?
Yep. Gonna have a lot to do.
Before the show, we were talking about social media and the tool for artists. Do you use it? Are you actively putting your artwork out there and communicating?
Yeah. I kind of have a weird relationship with social medias because I feel like I guess it's a really useful tool. Like you can self-advertise and it's cool. Like you get to like see a lot and meet people, and it's really cool. But it also comes with like you have to keep up with the algorithm and all that, and you have to like produce a lot, and you have to do something that's looking nice, and I kind of see it as a task, and I don't like really necessarily enjoy it. So I wish I would, but I don't. So yeah, I've got like mixed feelings about social medias. Yeah,
I find it interesting what you said about the process, because I agree 100%, especially as creatives. You don't want to have that thing of like, oh, you gotta be there every day, posting every time. You know, like you want to allow your creativity to take you to places. And then I think a lot of artists, I know because I relate to it, you see yourself caught up with the commitment. I have to post something. I have to be out there. But like, am I even producing something cool? Like, what am I looking for? I want to be relevant for what? For who? Am I even getting anything out of this? Is it like a quick moment of, hey, 10 likes, 1,000
totally
likes,
can be an ego
100
thing.
messages? You know, like what exactly? Am I just stroking my ego with that?
No, I totally get addicted to the dopamine from the likes and the comments, and it's a good motivator to keep making work. But when you get into that state of like, oh, I have to just keep posting more, and like every week or every couple of days or every day, whatever it is, you can start to lose the integrity of your work and the meaning, and just doing it for the sake of like making content. You have to like sort of let go of like how many, just like the numbers around it, and focus more on the intention.
It definitely influenced the creativity, and like you can get caught up into doing things that are more commercial, and at the end it's kind of like loses its meaning a bit. Because
it's not every artist who will put a song out every day, or it's not every artist who will paint a beautiful painting every day. But you gotta post 5 times per day.
And when you look back then, like artists would take years to create a painting, you know, and now I feel like, oh, you haven't posted something in 3 days, you know, and what? It puts a lot of pressure as well into, like, you know, and we have lives next to it. We do things, and it's kind of, I don't know. I feel a bit like I'm a slave of Instagram sometimes.
Come on, Instagram. Change those policies, man. Slavering artists.
It's a good tool.
Come on,
it's a
great tool. Yes,
it's a great tool.
When it comes to the prints and promoting yourself and selling art, how do you deal with that?
So I've got my little website where people can purchase things, and then I get all my prints like printed professionally, or when they're lino prints, I handprint them myself. And the originals, well, the originals.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
I feel like Coromandel's a great spot for you because we just get so many nature lovers, and your work is nature based, and a lot of people visiting would resonate with it. Yeah.
It's good to see that people are really interested in in your work. Like, it's cool. I feel like people come to Whangamata, they're pretty open.
Hippies. A lot of hippies down there.
Are you comfortable with pricing your art?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That was straight up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what do you mean by pricing? Like,
sometimes I chat with artists that don't like that part of the process.
they
don't know. They don't know what price to put. Of course, you can look into other similar artists and where you are and how much you should go for. But like, it comes to that moment of like, oh.
No, I think I'm pretty comfortable with that. I mean, like, when you think about the amount of work that's behind it, why shouldn't it be,
Yeah.
It used to be like a full-time job before. Like, a lot of people would like make a living of being artists back then, and it's kind of like disappearing. So
there's challenges to it. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities with this, like the online platform, and then there's like the AI that's sort of taking it away, and like it's quite a interesting time. We've got now. It's definitely changed.
Have you tried any AI platform or anything?
Not really.
No, not yet.
No, part of me is like, that's cool, but it's
you've got your thing. What you're doing is really special.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lara. It's empowering, it's inspiring as well. Like when we were having a look, every time that we are like, Taylor and I, like, we meet for the Coromind moments of like, not even selecting, but like appreciating local artists. Last night I made a post reminding people that we look for poets, for artists, and it's interesting. I find Kiwis a bit shy when it comes to that. Like they love the appreciation, they love doing the work and seeing people enjoying it, but doesn't mean necessarily that they're gonna put themselves out there as they should, because you guys are very talented. So even on those posts, a lot of those posts, they got likes, and I went to see who was liking the posts.
Me.
Yes. a lot of cool artists, but like they don't send a message, like they don't say, hey,
I'm already in it.
You are, of course. But and it's not criticism, it's just an observation of this thing with like, we want to put ourselves out there.
Yeah, there is a huge
to
thing.
Inspire people as well to do the same. It's not easy. Every time that I have to sit in front of the computer and say, it's Leo from Coromind, I'm like, damn, because I want the magazine to be a collaborative thing. But at the same time, I understand that people want to see a face, like, who is it? What's going on? Who am I getting involved with? So I have to put myself out there, hey, we're not charging, like,
it's amazing. It's
hit us up. We want to appreciate your work, and we want more people to, of course, if you want to do something, an editorial or whatever, we're going to charge, because the magazine has to sustain itself. But like for artists, it's such a pleasure for us to provide space. So
we've got a funny culture. Like, I know a lot of really talented like artists and musicians who are just like really just shy and don't have that confidence or like self-belief. Like, we've got that tall poppy syndrome thing, and it takes people a while to build up that confidence. And it's great that you're encouraging it. Like, you just got to start doing it. Just put yourself out there. Like,
and it's all good. If they don't want to, it's fine. I understand that that's the beauty of the arts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like it's therapy, you know, like you might just want to sit down and do your own thing for yourself. Beautiful, please do it.
But life's short.
But life's short, and like if you bothered creating a Facebook page and if you post 3-4 times per week and you are not even a big fan, you know, like sometimes some platforms are there to support, you know, like, and now that we're tapping into grants and fundings and all this stuff, of course they are amazing, but you understand like how it's all set up as well, you know, like, you know, the organizations that are going to get more money, you know, the mainstream medias that are already all lined up to get that money, and then you're like, come on, what about giving power to independent productions, because that's the real people, right? Like there's no big corporations or anyone behind those guys. So I feel like we become way stronger when we collaborate, you know, like putting ourselves out there, and I loved what you said about the community, because for me, that's where it's at. Yeah,
you just triggered the word that I was looking for earlier, which was decentralization. Like politically, like giving people more independence, more choice, like in smaller communities. Yeah, and that links in, I guess, with that, like with the arts funding, like.
Should we start the artists' party?
Yeah.
It would be the coolest party, right?
Yeah, I don't know who I'm voting for.
Party! That's what we do. I don't know who would vote for.
I don't know.
Even the artists would forget to go, oh man, election. Oh, I forgot. Shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the biggest problems with society, you know, like the coolest people, they're focused on something else, but unfortunately the people making decisions for them are very aware of the power of politics and all that stuff, right? But like the real people, they're tuned into something else. Their mind is somewhere else. Come on. Lara, give us some information about how to find your work if we want to buy some of your art, or if we want to just enjoy and get in touch with you and say, hey, keep it up. It's awesome.
Well, I pretty much post everything that I do on my Instagram and and on my website. And you can also purchase from my website if you want something. Otherwise, yeah, just send me a message, and if you ever come through Whangamata, we can catch up or whatever.
There you go. Face to face, eh?
Yeah, like that too. So, yeah, and it's just laragay.art, or yeah.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. we will put the links on the description. And Emma, can you remind me of your Instagram page as well, please?
Emma Evangeline Art on Instagram, and then Art by Emma Gustafson on Facebook. Those two different ones. Yeah.
Both of you, thank you so much for being part of our funnel, of our little hub. Little is growing. Hub of creatives. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lara. And beautiful cover. We're stoked. We're very proud of them. We know that in a few years, people will look back at those magazines, those covers, and they'll be like, "Ooh, okay." So
I hope so.
Thanks for,
Thank
yes,
you.
for sure. Thanks for being part of it.
Well, thank you so much.
And thanks for joining us. Bonjour. But no,
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Yeah.
Bonne nuit.
Bonne nuit. Yeah.
Bonne nuit. Thank you. Thanks, Emma.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lara.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Taylor. Cool. If everything goes well, if the weather stays good, I shouldn't say it because last time that I said it didn't work, the weather was horrible and MC Tali couldn't come to Whitianga. But if everything goes well, we have the pleasure to have MC Tali, old school, classic, top New Zealand DJ for the drum and bass people. It's going to be a treat. Show 190, very special one. So stay with us Thursday, 7 p.m. Kakite. Peace.